The more you put Rachel Zegler out there on these press events, the more likely it is that she is going to regress into her 2023 self.
They're afraid of the entertainment press, not because they're going to challenge her. They're so freaking woke that she's going to forget her training. And obviously, she's a ticking time bomb.
Renegade Online. You got Mickey 17, some of these other movies. Disney's Snow White is still hovering $60 to $70 million for its opening. Disney's live adaptation of Snow White, and I'm going to repeat this again for everybody out there in the audience, $60 to $70 million is with the current opening range. I know we're still, a few weeks away, but we're closer to this opening. We're 10, 11 days from this opening. Almost 2 weeks closer to its opening or to the opening of Minecraft that we just finished discussing, which has a $55 to $75 million projection. Minecraft is not awesome as that opening is. It's not bad, but it's not awesome. Snow White might actually have a worse opening right now, according to the same measurement criteria that we have here. And that should have Disney, pardon me, wrong chart. That should have Disney pretty nervous right now. And Amanda, I don't know if you saw this, but we had an article that we had last week. In fact, I think I have it queued up here as well from THR. And that was the fact that their estimates here from THR puts it at 53 million. So
that's kind of high for people. Just don't seem excited for this movie. Months ago, I remember seeing just like random people on Instagram that aren't, in this sphere like us, just normal people, saying that she was so bratty that they just had no interest in seeing the movie. So not only people like us that are keeping up with her interviews and just know state of Disney at the moment, just regular people are like, she's turning me off to it. She's not a good Snow White. So it's not looking good for them.
I think that's a big part of it. And Disney is trying to start ramping up the marketing machine in the last few days, as you would expect. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about here. But also joining us, Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge. Welcome aboard, sir.
I like turtles.
Hello, how you been?
Hey, good. How you doing, Tom?
How you doing, Tom?
Been a while since I've seen Wicked Virtue. How you guys doing?
I know, it's been a while.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, and I was trying to think of a good way to do this today without getting copyright claim. There's no real good way to do it. So I'm going to try to avoid it as best I can, but with the understanding that it might not work out. So we've seen these press tours lately of Snow White, and Rachel Zegler's doing this 180. Disney's obviously, they've put her through the ringer, I think, in terms of training, what to say, what not to say, avoiding controversy, as she buried herself in it more than a year ago now. Not long before they delayed the release of this movie, as I remind folks, an entire year. And they used the guise of the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA strikes in 2023 as an excuse as to why they were delaying it, which when it happened, we said it doesn't make any sense. They made that call in October of 2023. The movie at that time was set to release March or February of 24, a year ago now. And that was months before any of the press junkets would have taken place. And of course, the strikes ended about 3-4 weeks after they made that announcement. And then we found out when they started putting out pictures, they're going to go back and completely redo giant portions of this movie to actually add in post-production CGI animated dwarves that they didn't have in the first iteration. Disney got caught, thanks to the UK Daily Mail, that was out there, managed to get some pictures of them doing some pickup shoots and drone photography for this. And you had 7 real people out there, 7, we called them the 7 dirty hippies.
The bandits?
The bandits or whatever they called them. It was, the goofiest looking thing. So, of course, they remade a lot of it. And they're hoping now that this is going to kind of turn the corner. But one of the things that happened this week was this. And I was hoping to find, I like this article, but it's got a lot of pop-ups, so pardon me on this one. Disney stuns fans as it ditches the UK Snow White premiere for launch at a Spanish castle amid controversy. Now, at first, people were like, oh, okay, Disney's pulling red carpet events or something along these lines, but they stayed in this article.
I think it had, yeah, I was going to say, everybody was like, oh, it's to keep her off the red carpet. I'm like, well, why didn't they keep her off the red carpet and everything else she was doing? Why did they put her out there at the Oscars? I said, no, I think this is, if they pulled this UK screening, it was probably because it was set to be before the US premiere and they didn't want the bad reviews to get out, I think more so. But what's going on here? This is news to me.
Well, Sparrow had a very unique take on it. And he said they're afraid of the entertainment press in the US, not because they're going to challenge her, but because they're going to actually goad her on. In other words, they're so freaking woke that she's going to forget her training and her discipline, which they won't do in Japan. And obviously, she's a ticking time bomb. Everyone seems to agree that she's not someone you want on your ocean voyage.
Yeah, I think that's always been the big concern, right? Is that the more you put Rachel Zegler out there on these press events, the more likely it is that she is going to regress into her 2023 self before Disney tried their hardest to stop her from talking. And especially after the election in November where, you know, she did her whole online
Meltdown.
rants, F Trump and F everybody that voted for Trump. I mean, that Rachel Zegler, yeah.
And then there was the business with her co-star, her Israeli co-star.
Yes, Gal Gadot. And people,
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, people commented quite a bit during their appearance on stage on the Oscars. About a week ago, they walked out together, and a lot of people thought that it seemed a bit frigid.
Walked. Yeah, I have if you want, I don't have to share it if you don't want, but I found a video that I thought was really funny of like her face. It wasn't them walking; it was her posing on the red carpet. People were like, "What is she doing?"
Yeah,
she looks. You got to see this.
Go ahead and find it while you're looking that up.
I got it.
We've got another guest joining us here. WDW Pro from that Park Place is in.
Hello, everybody. Yes, Rachel Zegler is now being more closely managed than Joe Biden with the Easter Bunny. Look out.
There you go. And this is what you're talking about
here. It
here.
is. Yeah, this is how she was posing. Like, people were like, "What is?"
Defiance.
Yes.
She's like. Her jaw. I like this comment. It's Jim Carrey, but really, what is she?
What is it, like OnlyFans face? What is this?
It's like, I can't even do it. Like, I don't know. She thinks she's doing something.
I guess.
Looks slow.
You know, as dudes, can we just ask Wicked Virtue, do you find that to be a flattering dress? I can't
no,
dress
not at all. So I talked about this last night a bit. The dress itself is pretty, but what they did with the top, it's like they wanted to make it look like she had more to show, but they didn't do it properly. They just smushed it.
She's got something going. She's worn a lot of things that seem designed to actually make her look less attractive and desirable than she actually is.
I'm sorry, I can't even I'm just laughing because I can just see this in the corner, her faces. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the dress is flattering on her. The top should have lifted instead of pushed. It's almost like they taped to make it look like she has less. And I don't think she's very well endowed normally. I don't know.
Now you all saw that Gal Gadot had done the speech the other day, right? You saw this where she spoke and said that she is no longer going to hide from her Jewish heritage, ancestry, etc. Did you all see that speech? Because I just wonder if you've seen the speech from Gal Gadot where she comes out and says that, where she says, "I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and yes, I'm Jewish." I just think that that's Disney's worst nightmare because they cannot put those two together. They cannot, and it's because Zegler has said such heinous things. You know, we're not gonna say the phrase, but from the river to the blank. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that Zegler's been spouting while her co-star is far more magnanimous and has been far kinder and at the same time faces far more than Zegler can ever imagine.
I mean, somebody made a very good point. You know, she's a theater kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's talented. She is attractive. She should have been successful by now. And she's certainly being given every opportunity to be. And yet her films have not succeeded. Gal Gadot, there are plenty of lousy personalities in every country and in every nationality, and that includes Israel. But one thing about Israelis is they tend to grow up having a lot more of a kind of sense of responsibility. Everyone serves in the armed forces, male and female. It's a different experience of spending your whole life being, that the extra special coloratura soprano, who everybody, has a crush on in the cast, as an American theater kid.
Yeah,
And she's,
look,
I completely agree. But when it comes to attractiveness, she's no Ron Coleman. I'll tell you that.
That's not a fair stand.
You're right. It's not fair at all. But we have to live in that world, Ron. Thanks.
I came to terms with the fact that my success was premised on my looks. And then I proved myself.
That's right.
Most of us are not a natural beauty like Ron. See, that's the problem.
Oh my gosh.
Most of us have to get work done like Rachel Zegler.
Get work done.
well, I think Disney is trying to figure out a way around this, and maybe they have one. I don't know yet. I mean, we're going to find out here soon enough when this movie releases. But I mean, going back to real quickly, what I had up on the screen previously, this idea that, and again, I understand it, the idea that these press events seem like that they have been, this isn't the usual big Disney spread around the globe fanfare. I think they're doing a handful of, big things, and that's kind of it. But they're not doing a big London debut with her there, which is something that is commonplace for Disney to do for all their big titles. But the article here, Disney has no plans to have a glam premiere of Snow White in London in what may come as a blow to UK fans. Instead, the film will be launched as a European premiere at a castle in Spain. The move is a somewhat unusual one, as London is known as one of the key destinations for some of Hollywood's biggest film premieres. The news comes amid reports from the Daily Mail that Disney had scrapped the launch in the UK amid a, quote, anti-woke backlash following a wave of criticism over the film's casting, creative choices, and comments made by lead actress Rachel Zegler. However, a Disney insider has told the Evening Standard that the UK premiere was never in the cards, as the plan had always been to do a more elaborate showing at the fairy tale venue, this castle that they're doing, which, hey, that makes sense. I can get that.
Valiant, it makes perfect sense. Send her to a Spanish castle and lock her in the tower. She can't do damage from there, surely.
Well, they have the Tower of London they could have used for that too, I guess.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.